Hello, everybody. I'm Britt the mom,
And I'm Hay the daughter, and this is Unfiltered
Unfiltered
Faith.
Faith. So we're back for
Or-
episode 2, and this one's going to be all about my girl. Hey, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, I'm Hay, and I'm 21. I have a dog, and her name is Win.
I have a dog named Win. Let's go back to this. So my husband, Sean, and Jake and Haley. So Sean got offered a job, and Hay and Jake are, starting their life together. So they actually took over the house that we owned in the Black Hills to start their life together while we moved to Wyoming. And we had 2 labs. Benny
Well,
and
actually,
Quinn.
yeah, there was 2 labs, then we separated them because Winnie is mine.
And I lost custody of Win.
She
So
is
Win
my
is now with
offspring.
Jake.
I gave birth to her. She is mine.
You birthed her. You did not. She has fur. You have
Looks like
skin.
it. We look the same. She's sleeping beside me. Currently.
Yeah.
Actively.
So Haley kidnapped my dog, but okay, go ahead and continue.
Mom left me so if we want to get into that.
I mean, let's not talk about it. It's kind of dramatic. So let's also let the audience know, yes, we're mother and daughter, but we are best friends.
We're very close in age.
We're not that close in age. We're literally
20
half of
years
each other's
apart.
age. But yes, we are best friends. You
They're
always
also
get
20 years apart.
those moms who are like, you can't be friends with your kids.
Well,
Here
oops.
I am. And I'll tell you what, I probably know more about what's going on in your kid's life because my kid tells me everything, but you do you, boo. So, what are your titles?
Ooh.
I could fiance, daughter.
I am a fiance. I'm a daughter. I am a sister. I am a granddaughter. And I am also a niece and cousin.
And a nurse.
Yes.
So
Going to school, though.
If you could take all of that into one, what would you title yourself? I know, hard one.
I am me.
Oh, see, I like that. I like that. How would you describe your current season of life?
When you say season, what do you mean?
This phase. So you're a fiance now, and you're still a daughter. You're still a sister. What would define you when you say, I am me? What defines you right now? Right now, as you sit there?
That's a hard question.
It is a hard question.
What defines me right now is the fact that, yes, I am all of these things. And I play a role for each. But at the end of the day, when it is just myself, I am Haley. And all of those things that make me also don't make me myself. I am my own person.
I like that. Your own thoughts. So you're kind of moving into a fresh new phase of life. How do you feel about that? What's the energy? So when I say new energy or a new stage of life, Haley is getting married this summer to Jake. They're both ex-military. As we discussed in a previous episode, Jake is way further down the path with God. Haley's kind of just starting out. And they're not to be, too full of myself, but they're a pretty amazing couple. So you guys have career changes, you have complete lifestyle overhauls coming. I mean, what is the energy? And I bet it's multiple energy.
Oh, yeah. So, obviously, me and Jake are very different, but we're very much the same.
Yeah.
In different ways. So, I ask him all the time, I say, how are you feeling? What are you feeling? Because our wedding is in 2 months.
And he is a man, so he's like, ugh,
Yeah.
feelings.
And he's walking into a wedding. He has no idea what it looks like. And he doesn't even know like the color scheme very well. And so, you know what I mean? He's just
Yeah.
walking into a wedding that I planned.
Mhm.
And so he's over the moon. He's excited. He is.
Well, because he
I
doesn't
asked
get
him.
the stresses, let's be honest.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'm excited. Like I'm excited." He
Yeah.
goes, "I'm not stressed about it at all." Yeah, and so our emotions are very differently. He is all for gung ho ready.
Yeah.
Like, let's get married. I want you to be my wife. I want children with you. Like, we believe in the same things. We have premarital counseling set up by a Christian church. And I'm sitting here shitting myself. Like, actively, like, I know I want to marry this man. There is no doubt in my mind. I couldn't have picked anybody better.
Right.
There's no way. But holy, like, ugh, it makes me kind of want to pass out and cry at the same time.
Well, I think that is healthy and normal. Like, if
I
you're
agree, but Jake's
nervous,
not on the same page. Jake's like, yeah, woo! And so I'm sitting here with my
also,
feelings about
it also
myself.
occurs to you, we talked about different faith upbringings, but you have seen failed marriages. You have seen, and Jake's parents are
Together.
amazing. They've been together forever. They're still together. You didn't get that. You didn't get that. So you got to take those outside perspectives into that too.
I would agree. And we have I shouldn't say we have different thoughts in it, especially when it comes to divorce.
Yeah.
Um, no, I am shitting myself. I am excited for after. I'm excited for it to be over. I don't like this. Like, brides are like, oh, this is such an exciting time. Like, oh my gosh, I'm just glowing. I'm not. I'm stress eating and I'm breaking out. This doesn't feel very magical. Like, I sweat thinking about walking down that aisle. Like, I'm gonna eat the aisle, I promise. Like, I envision it. I dream about it. It's straight up nightmares.
Okay, so
Like,
let's dive into this a little further so we can kind of get at the root of things. Again, we want to always be very honest and raw with our audience, and because if we're not raw and honest, we're not going to be relatable to a lot of the people that need an outlet. So, who's walking you down the aisle?
my mother.
Okay? Why?
I don't even know how to say this. I don't have a father.
Okay?
He is alive. He's not deceased, but I did not grow up with a dad. That is just not something that was in the cards for my life.
Okay. So, mom and dad were married.
So my mother and father, they were married. They so the
And your
story with
brothers
my mother and
are
father.
mine and your biological fathers.
Yes.
It is
So
the three.
yes, so my biological father and my mother, they got pregnant very young and they married right away because of the older generation. They thought pushing that in that marriage because of that baby was the best thing for that infant, which is probably the exact same way people think of nowadays. That is what you should do: is you get pregnant, you get married. Like, that's it. And that is exactly how it is today. And I'm not saying that is wrong. I'm just saying that is how it is.
Mhm.
So they got married very, very young, and they had my older brother, and at the age of 21, my mother had me, 2 weeks after her 21st birthday. So,
I
so
just want to let everybody know that I went to Deadwood that night and I did win because I had a baby in my belly. But that's okay. My lucky charm was coming.
so me and my older brother, we are 5 years apart. And then me and my little brother, we are a year and a handful of months apart.
18 months to be exact.
Yes. So my mother had 3 children with my biological father.
Now, do you have siblings outside of that?
I do.
Okay.
My father later down the road had another child, a boy, with another female, and my mom remarried, and I have 2 step-siblings.
Do you get to have really much of a relationship with those other siblings?
So since they are different genders, they act a little bit differently than each other. I do not have any contact with my biological father, so I have never really seen my half brother. I
Okay.
know he's out there. We live in the same town. He goes to the
Small
school
town.
that
And
I
it's
grew
really
up in.
strange that we don't run into him more often.
Right.
Mhm.
But I know a little bit about him. He knows I exist.
Right. Is that hard?
And it depends on the day.
Okay.
But I don't want to say I judge because I am also half of my biological father, but I also know he's half of his biological father.
Right.
So it's kind of like that little like setback. And he's not really to the age of where a connection is vital.
You're right.
He is 14, something like that. So he's in that like boy stage where like, no need yet. And
Right.
his life is, I assume, probably plenty complicated enough.
And it's really hard because by the time he came along, the relationships were very strained already. And I as your mother, it's very sad for me to know that, you know, I played a part in that kind of being as estranged as it is. Because I think you're amazing and I think you're wonderful. And I think it would be amazing and wonderful if you guys could have a relationship.
I would be open to one, but I think I'd be more open to one later down the road when I know I am older.
Right?
He is older.
And that makes sense. And I'm not sure he's even quite that old.
I don't think he's got to be like 12, 13, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm thinking
We
that's,
were a decent age apart.
yeah. Oh, and he was
So,
a cute little baby too.
he was a cute little baby. He's a
And he
cute little
looks a
boy.
lot like your little brother now.
Yeah, like exactly the same.
Right. So what
So,
is your
but then,
relationship with your other siblings, with your biological brothers?
so me and my biological brothers, obviously we did have, unfortunately, a very difficult childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So that relationship has always been strained because of the way we grew up. And
Right.
obviously we are all different genders, so we grew up just a tad bit differently.
And so let's just fill everybody in. So there's 5 years between Blake and Hay, 18 months between Hay and Chase. So Blake and Chase are about 6.5 years apart, just so everybody
Yeah.
can kind of follow. So when we come to like really being raised together, Hay and Chase, it was kind of
We're
always like Hay and Chase. Yeah.
more raised together.
Yeah. And then when like the divorce happened and you're talking about custody and all of those things, um, they were just always together. Where Blake kind of got a little bit more because he was older, so he had to make a little bit more of his own decisions, so he could kind of do what he wanted. But
Right.
let's dive kind of back into that a little bit. What estranged you from your biological dad?
So my biological father, he is very much an alcoholic. He chose that at a very young age. He did not grow up right either. I'm not saying that's an excuse, but it is a fact.
And it is a thing that is a hereditary thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So his childhood was very hard, and then he went and he had children, not very far apart from each other.
Yeah.
So he's very much an alcoholic, still is to this day, and he likes I there hasn't been any diagnosis thus far that I know, but there is definitely some mental illness going on as well.
Yeah. And it's hard. And I would like to maybe get your opinion. I believe, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, because it won't be the first or the last time you told me I'm wrong. But it would be something that you would like to see different.
Oh, 100%. Especially with this new chapter that I am walking into.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you are a little, especially when you're a girl, and I would like to make that very clear, this is only a girl thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting married, and I don't have a dad. And I do have a dad, but I don't have a dad. All in the same kind of area.
Right.
Like, I love my stepfather. My stepfather is amazing. He treats my mom exactly the way I would want. But there's always going to be that I'm not your genetic.
Yeah.
So, not having my dad walking in to this next chapter with me is a little bit difficult, but then I remind myself that he hasn't been there for any of my chapters to begin with.
Yeah.
So for him to think that it's his right to come in to this, I don't want to say final chapter, but kind of feels like it at the moment, like kind of it all closing into one, I don't think he deserves it. But, getting married, not having your dad there, kind of like a little sore spot.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
then when I have my own children, it's gonna be one of those it's a conversation I don't even like to think about having, but I know I'm gonna end up having of, well, why don't you have your mom's last name? Or why do your brothers have a different last name
Right.
than your mom? So that is going to have to come out at some point because they're going to figure out in the long run that my mom's husband is not my dad.
Right.
So I am not looking forward to that just because of everything that kind of goes into that one little conversation
Absolutely.
of, oh, sorry, children, your biological grandfather is actually an alcoholic. And unfortunately, you will never meet him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that is a conversation me and Jake have had.
Yeah. How does he feel about it?
Well, you know men.
Mm.
He
I know
wish he
Jake.
could literally beat him to a pulp if he ever
Yeah.
gets a chance to.
Yeah. And
So
again,
he's like,
everybody, we're talking about an army man. So
yeah. So he's like, get away from my wife, get away from my children, like, cut it off, done, done, done.
Yeah.
But then there's me who I agree my children will never meet my dad. That is one thing I will never cross.
So what had happened? Let's say hypothetically, because I do know that you've reached him recently. Actually, it's probably been a year now, but you did reach out and you wanted to do counseling with him, and he was afraid of maybe some alternative motives behind that. So you guys didn't really get on the same page. But let's say 5 years from now, there's some work, some realization that alcohol is a problem and that help is seeked, and some accomplishments of that start to, come into realization, and he
Right.
wants to take you up on that offer. Then is
You want to know what I'm
is
going
it
to
a
do?
dead end always, or is it maybe a roadblock that could be moved?
It depends on what exactly he's looking for.
Okay. His motivation behind it?
Yes. So if 5 years from now, let's just hypothetically, my future, the way if God allows me to plan the way I want, I'm going to have children. There's going to be children walking around within those 5 years. If his plan is to fix whatever he can with me, that's a completely different story.
Mhm.
If his plan is to fix something with me to get to my children, that is something I'm willing to kill for.
Okay, so just as a parent and myself, and I've had rough spots in my relationships with your brothers and you, and I am ecstatic at the idea of maybe some way down the road of being a grandma. For me personally, there isn't much I wouldn't change to be accepted in that role.
Right.
So could you, and again, this is not a you, it's a dead end that if your children would be the driving force, because again, I'm going to tell you, Mom, if you don't get this shit in order, you don't get to be grandma. Well, there isn't, like you said, I'd kill for that. Well, I'd change just about anything.
Right.
So is it,
Are you asking if it's a dead end?
yeah, like,
Yes.
okay, that's
100%. That is a dead end.
okay.
I'm not
Like,
willing
that's
to
not
talk.
even open for discussion.
Correct. You will never, and I mean never meet my children.
Is that because of fear?
Yeah.
Okay. What is fearful for you?
Oh wow.
Okay.
The way we grew up with our parents, me and my
I just
two
also want
five.
to throw out there too, if this is like, no, you just say, nope, Mom. Nope, I don't wanna. So do not think just because I'm asking you questions that this is a have to.
Are you
Right.
seriously growling at me?
Oh, there's Chase. Hi, Chase.
Yeah. Go.
Come and say hi.
You won't.
Okay. That was my youngest, FYI. That was Chasers. And that was Win barking at him.
Yes.
But
She.
yes,
She's
if this is like
excited.
a conversation that is just a that you just say
I'm willing.
Okay.
So my three siblings, we were beaten severely by that man. So, and when I say the difference in age means a lot, I mean it means so much because of the different types of beatings that we each individually got, and the gender is a very big role in this.
Yep.
So, my brother is obviously 5 years older than I am, so he got the brutal end of watching my parents fall apart.
Yeah.
Because he was just a little bit older and he was more there than me and Chase were.
Absolutely.
So that is what happened with Blake. So Blake deals with that on a daily basis.
And
He's
deals
not
with
very
it in his own way.
right. He's very keep to himself, very in his own world.
And he also, where you are like, he is more open to having relationships with everybody.
Right, and he's open to having if he has children, having those children be around him.
Yep.
So he's all for that, which is where we kind of collide.
Mm-hmm.
Is me and his idea of our father.
Yeah.
The things he saw, I didn't see, but the things I saw, he didn't.
Yeah.
So when we come together, there is that kind of in the middle of us to where we can never fully get to be siblings.
Yeah. And that's very hard as your brother to watch.
Right, but it's also something that we could totally do if he would allow it.
If
But
I
he
would
is
allow it,
again,
or
no,
he would.
he would allow it.
I
But
think it's better now than it's probably been since you were 5.
I would agree, but I think that's only because of us now being adults.
which is a good thing.
Right, but I don't
Does
think
have
since
maturity
we
behind it.
didn't fix it when we were younger, I don't think that will ever be always correct. Like, I don't think we'll ever be in the same room where it's like fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with me and my younger brother being so close in age, our growing up looked kind of similar.
hmm
So
But very
Blake
different
left
because of the gender.
because of the gender.
hmm
So
The
Blake
things that he endured are very different than the things that you
and what I endured.
like. I
Yeah, and that
remember one time you coming home from a time and you said to me, well, Dad says he doesn't have to hit me because I listen.
yes.
Like that kind of stuff. And I also
Yeah.
remember a time where you called me and, oh golly, I don't even remember. Chase was little, but you called me crying and said Chase had been thrown through a wall, and
Yeah.
I picked you guys up, and we did end up going to the ER, and he had a concussion.
Mm-hmm.
And
Anyway,
that
straight
was
through that wall.
about the time that we then proceeded. I shouldn't say we. I proceeded to get a restraining order that included the kids. So, and I was awarded that, and for 5 years. So the restraining order was good for 5 years. It was supervised visitation, and it wasn't super regular, but I know it was really great. Those visits
Mm-hmm.
were really great, and you guys, felt really good about them. So that was the way it was for 5 years. And I also remember, and again, if my memory and your memory are different, tell me, but after 5 years, you guys were older. You especially, I want to say you were like 12, granted not a grown up, and I just asked you, and I was like, what do you want? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think you were 12 quite yet, maybe 10. But you said, I would like to try it without the visitation the way it is. And
Right.
Chase felt the same. And so we let the restraining order drop. And then it went to where you guys would go to his house.
Right.
And
But it never got any better.
yeah.
It wasn't something that, magically changed, and I want to say that he just, got better over that 5-year course, because that would be incorrect. But going back to like the gender and the age, Blake realized that this was wrong because how old he was, and Blake then only lived with our mother while me and Chase continued to go and visit our dad because we thought that was what was correct at the time. And little siblings, they follow the older one.
And
So
let's
Chase,
also be honest too, you and your biological dad at that time, he didn't
right.
go. So, I mean, if we're going to talk about healthy,
Mm-hmm.
you and him did have the healthiest of the relationships at that.
Yes. My dad did.
You were
He did
princess.
have a great relationship. He loved and cherished me because I was a girl.
Yeah.
But that also came with something that didn't come out until I was about 16 years old, 15, 16 years old.
I'm not even
So
sure you were that old.
I don't think I was that old either.
You weren't
I
driving.
can't, so like 13, 14.
Yeah, I'd say pretty shortly after the restraining order was dropped. Sorry. You shared with your grandma something, and can I share?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
So Hay was very into softball, so we did a lot of traveling with that. And we were at a town that had a Barnes and Noble. That wasn't anything we had close to us, so we wanted to go check out the Barnes and Noble store. And I said, you can pick out a book. So she brought like 3 up to me. She's like, man, I just can't decide. And the books were all about, victims, young victims. And I was just like, why are these 3 books of interest of you? And you just broke down crying in the middle of Barnes and Noble, and you kind of share your story with me.
Yes. That was not the way I was expecting it to go either.
Yeah.
Did not mean to do that.
Well, that's what worked for you. I mean, doesn't matter when you share your story. I'm just proud of you for sharing it.
And I loved books. Books were like one of my favorite things. I like the hardcover, like where you have to flip the page. I love those. Those are
Yeah.
the best books.
I like the way they feel.
But so growing up, I was like sexually assaulted by my biological father. And what was held over my head specifically was, if you let me do this to you, I won't hurt your siblings. And by that time, Chase, was being thrown through walls and having all these concussions. Chase has broken 90% of his body. And so, what are you supposed to do when you are 12 years old and you're not quite old enough, but you know that in your heart, especially when you are now the eldest, how do you protect your younger sibling? So I don't want to say I gave in, but at the time it was more like, what do you have to do to survive?
Mhm.
And neither of my siblings actually know that I did that. And to this day, they still do not. They know that I was sexually assaulted, but they don't get the reason. So in reality, they do think that I made it up. They think I was lying because they never saw it. But I don't think that is something that a 12-year-old can make up in such vivid detail. So that is something that I had to deal with. And my fear is having children, especially when female genetics run very, very hard in my fiance's side of the family.
Mhm.
I'm afraid of having daughters and then bringing them back, because I don't want my children to go through what I went through, in which the cycle I intended to break. You know what I mean? I broke it for a reason, so why would I go backwards?
Yeah.
And I love my father in a way that, because he's my father? Absolutely. I just can't stand to be near him or in the same room as him, because those memories that I've hid for so long like flood back, and I've pushed them down so far that I can't find them. And that, people think that's very unhealthy, especially if you ask my grandmother. She thinks that is the unhealthiest thing I've ever done. But it helps me specifically. So burying that so far beneath where you don't have any feeling towards it is the way I personally cope. And if it helps me, then it helps me. And I
But
don't
does it
see
help
why.
you? Because if
Yes.
he drives by, you have a panic attack.
Well, it's because, so my little brother has recently been diagnosed with cancer, and he got a car and to get to and from his cancer appointments, and my dad all of a sudden appeared and wanted to help, which is great.
Mhm.
But like we said, me and my mom, we separated. So I now live in a different town than she does, in a different state. So me and my fiance live in this house together. And we invited Chase to come into our home, and because it makes him just a tad bit more comfortable. And with cancer, I want to make him as comfortable as possible. So he is here, and all of a sudden one day when I'm at the house by myself, my biological father appears in my driveway. and this has been years. So I start crying. It was just like a bodily reaction. I start crying. I'm on the floor. I can't breathe. The whole thing. And so I didn't know that was something that was going to happen. So it just kind of appeared out of nowhere.
Mhm.
But that reaction to him, if it's still there after this long, then I can't even imagine what it would be like when I have children.
Right.
So that is another thing that plays into it. And my fiance is military. He likes to build bombs. So
And he's
I
a
don't
military
really.
brat. He was raised military.
Yes, both parents are military. He is military. And they are set in stone in their ways. There's nothing there that would ever.
Mm-hmm.
So that is my biological father, and there is a lot more into that, but
So do you think, like, so to me, that is kind of like a trauma response, which I think a lot of people can relate to. Do you think trauma is demons that are playing at you?
I think the demons are the people that did it to us.
So, like,
And I think, yes. So I think if you want to be specific, yes. But in reality, is the thought of it demons? No. The people who did it to us, and the reason we're thinking about it is because it did happen. That is the part that hurts the most.
and I do kind of want to just jump in here because for me, this is a point where I would like listen to this and I'd be like, well, why wasn't law enforcement involved? Why, how uh, we did law enforcement was involved, but somehow it always seemed to not
Work.
work. Yeah, and I don't know if it's the small town that we were in or if it was I don't know. I don't know. But nobody sat idly by.
Right. And nobody really knew
No, you
about it
didn't
for
you didn't share
a
your
couple weeks.
story. I always thought he just was physical with the boys. Because I do. I
Yeah.
remember you coming home and being like, he doesn't have to hit me because I listen. And I'm just like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, your story didn't come through, and then it was kind of like sealed.
Right. Then it kind of made everybody a little bit like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, and then it's really hard. It was really hard, to have your daughter, well, first of all, go through that. And you're just like, why didn't I protect her from this? But also having people not believe you. And it's like,
Yeah.
why would anybody make that up? And I know a lot of was said of, mom brainwashed her. And it was like, again, what mom in their right mind would want their daughter to feel this way, to deal with this, to carry
Right.
this, right? For me to brainwash you into something like that, that would mean that I want that for you. And nobody wants that.
Right. Yeah, no. That all was very much real.
Yeah.
And it is something that I don't really talk about much. Like, not a lot of people in life actually know that actually happened
So
because
what
I don't like to share it very often.
so when we were talking about kind of starting a podcast and stuff, we flat out were like, okay, what topics are off limits? And we both very much agreed. We didn't have topics that we wanted to be off limits, with the purpose of allowing somebody to relate to us.
Yes.
What is it for you now as a young woman that this is a story you're, one, willing to share, two, willing to share kind of publicly?
Right. Well, it did happen, and I can't always hide from it the way I would enjoy to hide from it. But I know that there are people out there who, one, have been sexually assaulted, been raped. It doesn't have to be by a family member. In general, I know that there are people out there who have had that happen to them,
Yeah.
and are absolutely miserable in their own mind. They might look okay on the outside, because I remember my family always telling me, "Oh, you're such a happy girl. Like, you're always so positive, you're always so happy, you have a smile on your face." Meanwhile, what was happening in my brain that wasn't showing on the outside was, I'm being assaulted.
You're being taught to be a people pleaser.
Yes, like, I'm doing all these things on the opposite end, but I'm putting on dresses, I'm going to family things, I'm going to church, like, I'm acting like a great sister, a great daughter, a great granddaughter, and nobody knows that this stuff is going on, because on the outside I am picture perfect.
Yeah.
And I know that there's so many people out there that do the exact same thing, that they go to work and they have to smile, but inside their brain is rotting.
And that's really sad.
I've learned to kind of deal with it my own way. I remember I went to counseling, and I've been to multiple counselors actually. I went to a family counselor at first while this was happening. My counselor knew that this was happening and he was recording it. And when my mom found out, we went to a child hospital, and I was so young. I remember very, very explicitly that I was sitting in this room with a two-way mirror. At the time didn't know it was a two-way mirror. And they gave me, I believe it was Play-Doh to play with. They gave me Play-Doh, they set up the voice recording machine, and the lady just started asking me questions. She was asking me questions about my dad, about how my day-to-day life was, and I flat out just told her, like, this is what happens. And I remember the lady being a little bewildered that there was no emotion coming out of my face.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't crying, I wasn't showing any facial movements, just sitting there playing with this Play-Doh that she handed me, talking about how I'm being touched, where I'm being touched, the things I do that my dad is doing to me when nobody is paying any attention. And all that stuff was recorded for personal reasons to keep, because as I get older and as I bury it deeper, I lose all of those memories. Because I put my childhood in the very back of my mind. So when people ask me, like, how did you grow up? Oh, I loved most of my childhood. And that's serious. I loved when I was with my mom. We didn't have much money, but every tax return we went on a vacation. And like, I enjoy my siblings. My little brother is like my best friend, and like, I I did enjoy it. But if you're supposed to put it into words, did I have a hard childhood? I did. But did the smell of alcohol, him falling asleep on the couch, like him beating everybody I've ever loved, did that turn me into the person I am today? Absolutely. And so it makes me feel like if that happened to me, and then I can really in life do anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and then so I'm just gonna really dive right in since we're in like really hard stuff. So I was obviously sexually assaulted by my father all the way up until the age of like 12. I want to say 12 to 13. I got in high school at the age of 14 and got my first boyfriend. We got my first ever boyfriend. I was so excited. You know young girls when they get boyfriends, they're so excited.
It's
You
exciting.
like get your hair cut, like you just want to feel all the feels. You think you're in love. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So that was me. And then about a year into our relationship, I believe in God. I believe that your virtue is yours. I might have my mom get me like a purity ring. And it was like my thing. Like I was like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to stay pure. And then about a year into our relationship, he raped me. And it was some people still don't actually know how it happened. I had my grandmother actually recently ask me the exactly how it happened. Like she wanted to know the step-by-step process. So it was like homecoming. I love softball. So I was wearing my softball uniform with shorts for homecoming, and he played on the football team. It was like this whole fairy tale because that's what I wanted. You watch Disney princesses when you grow up as a little girl. That's what I wanted. I craved it. And then I remember sleeping. I wasn't intoxicated. Not saying that even if you are, it's an excuse or anything like that. But I wasn't because I was very much underage. There was no partying. There was nothing involved. I just slept. And then all of a sudden, I was in so much pain that I couldn't even bear it. And it woke me up instantly. And I remember him being on top of me. And he was definitely a bigger man. And I remember him being so big and so heavy that I couldn't get him off of me. So I don't want to say I took it because that's not true, but I couldn't stop it because I was by myself. And I couldn't do anything about it no matter how hard I fought. It was happening, and then all of a sudden it was done. And then 8 weeks later I found out I was pregnant. And I found out I was pregnant in the worst way possible. Me and the dad at that time didn't have any communication because I know what he did was wrong. But I woke up at 4 a.m. one morning, about 8 weeks later, and the reason I have the date of my day finding out I was pregnant, it's literally my phone password. My phone password is the date that I found out I was pregnant. And so I woke up at 4 a.m. and I was puking and I was confused. But I didn't want to tell my mom because I just told my mom I was sexually assaulted like a year ago. Why would I, you know what I mean? And so I went to the store when they opened at 5 and I got a pregnancy test. And I remember I had no feelings. Because in reality, I was really hoping that I wasn't. I think I convinced myself I wasn't. I got home, took the pregnancy test. It was one of the digital ones so it has the bars and it's blinking. I remember walking out to the trash can. The sun is actively rising because it's 5 a.m. And I make it to the trash can. I open the lid and it's at the last bar. I go to toss it in and it stops blinking. And in the words, it just says pregnant. Put it in the trash can, walk it back up the stairs, sit on the couch, and stare at the wall. And I remember thinking, how am I supposed to do this? Like, what route is the best way? for me to take at this point. And so I remember looking at my phone, what does a baby look like at this many weeks? What does this mean? What does that mean? How many success stories are there for a 14-year-old girl having a baby? Like, I remember like actually looking it up on my phone, and I'm sitting there, and it's 5:30 now. I lay down and I fall asleep on the couch. I don't wake up until my mom walks up the stairs the next morning and says she wants to go shopping for like a shopping day with me and my little brother. So I get up, I get ready, I'm nauseous, I'm not feeling my best, and we go and do this day. I don't eat anything. I'm sitting in the back seat, terrified, and my mom keeps asking me if I'm okay. I keep telling her yes, I just don't feel very good. Well, at this time, I'm talking on the phone with my, I don't even know, say baby daddy? I don't even know. My baby daddy's mother. So I'm talking to her. I told her I'm pregnant. She's the first person who knows. And I remember the text. She told me she will handle it. And she's an adult. You know what I mean? I thought, you can trust adults. They do anything. Okay, she's got this under control. I go like a few days later and I tell the dad, because I thought that's what you should do. And I remember him beating the shit out of me. He didn't want a baby. He just wanted sex, and I wouldn't give it to him, and just like beat the shit out of me. And my mother still has no clue. And I tell one of my really good friends, who's actually now a bridesmaid in my wedding. Tell one of my really good friends, who tells her mother, who then tells my mother. And so I think my mom's gonna be pissed. I mean, what else do you think as a 14-year-old? You think your parents are gonna be pissed. And so I'm sitting there, I'm crying, I'm freaking out. I'm like 8 weeks pregnant. And I remember my mom coming into the house, and she's been crying, and I've been crying, and she just hugs me and tells me that it's going to be okay. And let's be honest, that's not a usual reaction. Like, that's not usual, because normally people would be very mad. But my mother, in fact, was not mad at all. She understood. And from then on, we try to come up with a plan. But lo and behold, the mother of the dad was already made a plan. And if I could go back and talk to myself, there would probably be I want to say probably a 4-year-old walking around right now. Unfortunately, that did not happen, because I took the advice of his mother, and I put all my trust in her, and in the end, that completely backfired on myself. But unfortunately, we cannot go back in time. But I know God exists, because I know He's got my baby up there with Him, and I know she or he is waiting for me up there. They have a name, so the baby up there is not nameless. I did name it, so he or she is walking around up there with a name. But all said and done, that happened all before I was 16 years old. And at that time, I was pulling my hair out in clumps because I was so depressed. My mom put me in counseling, and my hair was just falling out because I was pulling it out. And I was trying to actively kill myself all the time. Like, I just didn't want to live anymore. I thought my life was over, and not in like the dramatic way. Like, I genuinely did not want to be alive. And went to counseling for a little bit. I still pull my hair as a defense mechanism. Unfortunately, that is something I did not give up.
Yeah.
But I do not have any contact with that dad or my biological father at this time or have since.
So now that you are you and you have been through a lot and it's shaped you into the person you are and person you want to be, what would you say to people who are just struggling? Young women, young girls, they're just struggling. And they've got so much on their plate that the world does not see.
Right.
What if you could give like a one sentence advice, what would it be?
People are going to tell you that time heals all. And not to be a Debbie Downer, but it in fact doesn't. But in the end, you do heal yourself. But you gotta find the way that whatever works for you. And everybody's gonna be different. But that does not mean that your problems are any less just because other people are like, time heals, you'll get over it. You do whatever makes you feel a little bit better for a moment. And it's gonna go back to hurting whenever you're done. But that little bit of sanity does go a long way in the end.
Well, I am really, really, really proud of you for sharing you and your story and your flaws and your heartbreak. And I mean, it takes a lot of courage to get up and get through those things and go the next day, but it takes a lot to tell people.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And now I have a Jakey.
Now you have a Jakey,
Now
who
I have a
is
Jakey.
God sent.
Who is phenomenal. He's great. And I would do everything all over again just to get to him.
Right.
Because he is fantastic.
That's a blessing.
Yes.
That's
He's
a
great. He's annoying sometimes, but so are all men.
Well, it's true. And so are all
And
women, but I mean, we're just a little cooler.
I would agree.
Yeah. But, okay, so we're going to end Meet the Hay. Thank you so much for your story and all your words of wisdom, and I'm really, really proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're just 2 generations.
And one honest story.
And we're so happy you were here with us today. And if anybody needs any help, please reach out. Even if you just need to talk, we're here for you. So until next time, next episode will be Meet the Brit. All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.